I met Emma during our sophomore year of college. We were both taking an elective art history class, me because I needed humanities credits, her because she was genuinely passionate about it. We started as study partners, then friends, then something more. For 2 years, we were inseparable. We moved into a tiny apartment off campus after junior year, adopted a cat named Pixel, and started planning a future together. I was studying computer science, already lining up promising internships. Emma was pursuing art history and museum studies, dreaming of curation jobs at prestigious galleries. The problem started during our senior year. Emma got accepted into a prestigious master's program in New York, her dream opportunity. I had already accepted a solid job offer with a tech startup in Seattle. We tried to figure out long distance, but both opportunities required total commitment. We'll make it work, I promised, already researching remote work options. Emma seemed less convinced. She became distant in those final months, spending more time with her art school friends and less time at our apartment. I chalked it up to pre-graduation stress and tried to be supportive. Then came the night that's burned into my memory. I came home from my evening class to find her sitting on our couch, a packed suitcase beside her. "I can't do this anymore, Alex," she said quietly. "I need to focus on my career, and I can't do that while trying to maintain a long-distance relationship." I was blindsided. "But we've talked about this. We have a plan." "No, you have a plan. I've been trying to tell you for weeks that I don't think it's going to work." What followed was the most painful conversation of my life. How she felt we were growing in different directions. How she needed space to become the person she was meant to be. How she'd been feeling trapped. That last part cut deep. I'd never wanted to hold her back. "Is there someone else?" I finally asked. Her hesitation was answer enough. "Not exactly, but there could be, and I need the freedom to find out." She moved out that weekend, taking Pixel with her. He's always been more attached to me. I helped her load her things into her friend's car, numb to the core. Our goodbye was awkward and hollow, nothing like what our relationship had deserved. The months that followed were a fog. I threw myself into my new job in Seattle, working 60-hour weeks and making a name for myself in the company. I made surface-level friendships with coworkers, but avoided anything deeper. I dated casually, but kept it light. Emma and I had no contact. We'd agreed on a clean break. I heard through mutual friends that she'd thrived in New York, landing an assistant curator position right out of her master's program. According to social media, she was dating a photographer whose work was featured in the gallery where she worked. They looked happy together. I convinced myself I was happy too. My career was taking off. I'd bought a condo with a view of Puget Sound, and I'd even started rock climbing, something I'd always wanted to try. Life was good, if a bit lonely. Then, 3 years after our breakup, I got the email that changed everything. The subject line read, "It's been a while." Emma's email sat in my inbox for 3 days before I worked up the courage to open it. "Alex, I don't know if you still use this email, but I'm hoping you do. I'm moving back to Seattle next month for a position at the Anderson Contemporary. I know it's been a long time, but I'd really like to see you if you're open to it. No pressure, just coffee. Emma." Simple, casual, as if she hadn't shattered my heart and disappeared from my life. My finger hovered over the delete button, but curiosity won out. Why now? Why me? Last I'd heard, she and the photographer were still together. I drafted a dozen responses ranging from coldly professional to embarrassingly eager. Eventually, I settled on something appropriately non-committal. "Welcome back to Seattle. Coffee sounds fine. Let me know when you're settled." Her reply came the next morning. "I arrive on the 15th. How about the 20th? That little place near Pike Place we used to go to still around. Maple Leaf Cafe. Our spot." Of course she'd remember. 3 p.m. on the 20th works. "See you then." For the next 2 weeks, I cycled through emotions like TV channels. Anger at her for thinking she could waltz back into my life. Curiosity about what she wanted. Hope, which I quickly tried to squash. And beneath it all, a current of anxiety I couldn't shake. I told my friend Marcus about the upcoming meeting over beers. "You're not seriously considering getting back with her, are you?" he asked, incredulous. "It's just coffee," I defended, though I'd been asking myself the same question. "Bro, she left you for a hipster with a camera, then ghosted you for 3 years. She didn't ghost me. We agreed on no contact." Marcus shook his head. "Look, I've seen you build yourself back up. You're killing it at work. You have your own place. You actually have hobbies now. Don't let her mess with your head again." He had a point. I'd worked hard to create a life without Emma. Yet here I was, trying on 5 different shirts the morning of our coffee date. I spotted her through the window as I approached the cafe. Her hair was shorter now, falling just below her chin in a stylish bob. She wore a deep blue blazer over a simple white top, more polished than the casual style she'd favored in college. She looked up and saw me, her smile immediate and warm. "Alex," she stood as I approached, hesitating before giving me a quick, Awkward hug. You look great. So do you. I replied automatically, because it was true. We fell into small talk about her flight, the weather, how the cafe hadn't changed. I ordered my usual black coffee. She still took hers with almond milk and cinnamon. So, I finally said after the pleasantries were exhausted, "You're moving back to Seattle." Yes, I got offered the associate curator position at Anderson. It's a big step up. Congratulations. What about New York? I thought that was your dream. She traced the rim of her cup with one finger. It was for a while, but the city can be exhausting and expensive. And, she paused, meeting my eyes. Lonely. What about your photographer? I asked, unable to keep a slight edge from my voice. Jason, she supplied. We broke up 6 months ago. I'm sorry, I said, not entirely sure if I meant it. Don't be. It was amicable. We wanted different things. Her gaze dropped back to her coffee. That seems to be a pattern with me. The implication hung between us. Emma, why did you want to see me? I finally asked. Really? She took a deep breath. Because I've been doing a lot of thinking, especially since the breakup with Jason, about choices I've made. Pad's not taken. Her eyes, those familiar hazel eyes, locked onto mine. About us. There hasn't been an us for 3 years, I reminded her. I know, and that's largely my fault. But Alex, walking away from you was the biggest mistake of my life. There it was. The words hit me like a physical force. I'm not asking for anything, she continued quickly. I don't expect you to have waited for me or to even forgive me. But I'm back in Seattle now, and I couldn't bear the thought of being in the same city as you without at least telling you how I feel. I sat in stunned silence, my coffee cooling between my hands. Say something, she whispered. I don't know what to say, I finally admitted. This is a lot to process. Emma nodded, giving me space to think. The cafe bustled around us, oblivious to the emotional earthquake happening at our table. You hurt me, I said simply. Not just the breakup, but how you did it. Like our relationship was something you could just discard when something better came along. I know, she whispered, eyes glistening. I was young and selfish and scared. I convinced myself I needed to be free to succeed, but the truth is, I was just afraid of how much I loved you, how much I needed you. And now, I challenged. What's different now? Me. I'm different. She leaned forward. These past few years taught me that success means nothing without someone to share it with. I've had the career milestones, the fancy apartment, the right relationship that looked good on paper, and none of it filled the hole you left. Part of me wanted to believe her. Another part remembered those weeks before she left, when I'd been too blind to see what was happening right in front of me. How do I know this isn't just nostalgia? Or a reaction to your breakup with Jason? That's fair, she conceded. I've asked myself the same thing. But Alex, I've had 6 months to sit with these feelings. I didn't reach out right after Jason and I ended things. I waited until I was sure. She reached across the table, not quite touching my hand. And moving back to Seattle wasn't about you. The job offer came first. But when I got it, my first thought wasn't about the career opportunity. It was that maybe it was the universe giving me a second chance to fix my biggest regret. I couldn't help but smile slightly. You never used to believe in signs from the universe. Another way I've changed, she returned the smile. New York will make a mystic out of anyone. We fell silent again, the weight of possibility hanging between us. I have a good life here, I finally said. It took time, but I built something I'm proud of. I know. I've seen your LinkedIn updates. Marcus posts about you sometimes on Instagram. Your climbing photos are impressive. The idea that she'd been keeping tabs on me was both unsettling and oddly comforting. I'm not asking to pick up where we left off, Emma clarified. Too much has happened. We're different people now. But maybe we could get to know each other again, as friends first? See where it leads. I studied her face, the face I once knew better than my own. There was vulnerability there I hadn't seen before, a hard-won maturity around her eyes. I have a climbing session on Saturday mornings, I heard myself saying. There's a cafe next to the gym where I usually grab lunch after. If you wanted to join. Her smile bloomed slowly. I'd like that. We finished our coffee, the conversation shifting to lighter topics. Her new apartment hunt, my recent promotion, a mutual friend's wedding. By the time we stood to leave, the tension had eased slightly. Outside the cafe, she hesitated before reaching up to hug me properly. I allowed myself to return it, the familiar scent of her shampoo bringing back a flood of memories. Thank you for meeting me today, she said as we pulled apart. For giving me a chance to explain, even if nothing comes of it. I can't make any promises, I warned her. I don't know how I feel yet. I understand. I'm just grateful for the opportunity. She took a step back. Saturday then? Saturday, I confirmed. I watched her walk away, conflicting emotions churning inside me. Part of me wanted to run after her, to reclaim what we'd lost. Another part whispered caution, reminding me of the pain I'd worked so hard to overcome. As I walked to my car, my phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. How'd it go with the ex? You okay? I stared at the screen, thinking about how to respond. Finally, I typed, I'm not sure yet, but I think I will be. Because that was the truth. I didn't know if Emma and I had a future together. I didn't know if I could trust her again, or if the new versions of ourselves would fit together the way we once had. But for the first time in 3 years, I was open to finding out. And maybe that was enough for now.